Hey, everybody, what is going on? I've got a coffee. It's Saturday, so it's time to talk some you know what. And today, what we're going to be talking about is gambling sponsorships, specifically gambling sponsorships in relation to Rust. I'm going to be fully disclosing what I have been offered for gambling sponsorships, why I didn't take them, what I think about gambling sponsorships in the whole sort of Rust niche and in general, because there's been a lot of talk about it recently. I'm a couple weeks late on the conversation, but I figured I'd throw my 2 cents in here, and I'm going to do something that I haven't seen anyone else do. I'm going to disclose actual numbers. You see, I didn't sign any NDAs. I didn't promise anyone I wasn't going to disclose numbers. And the one thing I'm not going to do, though, just to get it out there, I'm not going to name and shame. I'm not going to tell you who offered me what. I'm not going to tell you this guy offered me this, and I know this content creator makes this. That's not my place to do. And honestly, I don't know what sites are legit and which ones aren't. And just to get this out of the way, there probably are some sites that aren't legitimate, because that's how this works, right? When it comes to skin gambling, especially like with Rust skins, CSGO skins, all of that stuff, it's a very unregulated market. When you've got gambling, like you go to Vegas, you go to a casino there, that's a regulated market. There's people that come in, they check that everything works. They make sure that, when the blackjack table is dealing you cards, they're not actually slipping all the aces into the dealer's hand and giving you 2s and 3s. 2s and 3s are complete shit, and aces are pretty legit. That's how it works with blackjack. I like to gamble myself, full disclosure. I like gambling. I don't see anything wrong with it, but if you're addicted to it, it can be a huge issue. Anyways, so what I want to get at is what I think of this, because I've seen some people, I saw a post on Reddit recently talking about gambling sponsorships, and they were saying Rust creators have to take gambling sponsorships because it's the only way to make money creating Rust videos. And that's not true whatsoever. For instance, when I first started with the Rust console game, okay, I was getting roughly, when my videos really popped off, I was getting about 1 million views a month, okay? And how much do you think that would make you? How much money do you think that would make you? Do you think it's enough to survive off of? Because there's a lot of content creators out there that are making decent money off that, because 1 million views a month, that's something that like Blueprints or Frost or a lot of these really big story guys are hitting, and they're hitting it with videos that were much longer than mine. So me, as a creator that's making smaller form videos, shorter videos, how much do you think I'd make? No sponsorships whatsoever included in this. The number's about $4,000 to $5,000 a month. That's a lot of money. I'm not making that anymore. My revenue's severely dropped off. But if you're interested, when I hit 15 million views on the channel, which is probably going to happen in the next couple months, I will do a video fully disclosing what I've made with this channel. I'm going to give you a hint. If you're thinking 25,000 or less, you're wrong. Anyways, so here's what I'm getting at. The content creators can make money just making Rust content. They don't need sponsorships and they don't need anything like that. The thing is, though, these videos do take a lot of time to create. If you're someone like Frost or Blueprint, I think they're getting 1 million views plus a video. These are videos that are 1 hour to 2 hours long. A video like that is going to bring in quite a bit of money. Okay, they're not making $4,000 off those videos, in my opinion. They're probably making something like $8,000 to $10,000 off those videos. So that would be my guess, right? The CPM I'm guessing that they're at is roughly maybe $2 to $3. That's a fairly low CPM. If you look at someone like Graham Stephan or some of these other channels that do disclose their revenue, their CPM's more like $10 to $20. And if you look at some of these real estate people, their CPM's probably more like $20 to $40. There are some people in the $40 CPM range, but you've got to really be knowing what you're doing. You've got to be really hitting that niche market. For instance, if you are one of the only content creators on YouTube that has Elon Musk following them, that's probably worth a shit ton of money, right? Even if he is the only one watching your video, you can probably get more per video than I could get, because he's just such a big, he's such a big name, such a big influencer. Just getting a couple seconds of his attention is worth that spend, okay? So you've got to remember that, right? It depends who's watching. Most of my viewers are probably in the 18 to 30 range, which isn't a bad range. You guys are all cool. You're still pretty young. You're not going to suddenly die, or at least most of you won't. Eat a healthy diet. Don't drink too much. But no, that's good, but it is what it is, okay? You guys aren't big spenders. You're not ballers like those boomers out there. You're not boomer ballers. Anyways, so yeah, getting into that. what I want to establish first is that most Rust content creators can actually make a living off of this if they're getting enough views. I think what the big problem is I've seen a lot of people that are my size and they decide to go full-time YouTuber. And the problem with that is, do they really need to? Are they really at that point yet? And in my opinion, a lot of these people aren't. They think that they have 1-2 good months. They think they can make it a full thing and they decide to give it a go. And what you see on YouTube is the only people you see talking about giving it a go and making it work are the people who gave it a go and made it work. Because the people who gave it a go and it didn't work for, they don't get the views, so you're never going to see their videos, right? It's a confirmation bias. The survivors are the only ones that you're hearing from, and those are the people that you're trying to model yourself off of. Those are the people you think you're going to follow, but then you end up in one of those people who just drops off all of a sudden and gets no views. That's the thing with YouTube. If you look at my channel, like Rust console content 1 year ago, I was getting on average like 10 to 20,000 views a video. This is when I got all those sponsorship offers, by the way. 10 to 20,000 views per video. Right now, I'm probably getting about 2 to 5,000 views a video. That's a significant drop. And if I was counting on that 10 to 20,000 view mark to make my money, I wouldn't be able to hit it, right? Like my revenue would be cut at least in half, probably more, because honestly, if I put out more videos, I'd probably get... At some points, I'd probably get less views just because I'd be saturating the feed too much, right? So you take all that into consideration, and then you've got to think like, you know, a lot of these people who are saying they're not making enough on Rust content or they're not making enough putting out Rust content, it's because they're not doing it right. They're putting too much time into their videos. They're using copyrighted content. They're doing stuff that they just shouldn't be doing. And it seems like you listen to someone like Mr. Beast, and he's always saying like, make the best video possible and people come and watch it. And that can be true, but that's not true for all of us. For instance, this video I'm making right now is going to take me probably about an hour to make, including this that I'm talking over, right? The video that I just posted before this video probably took me like 10 to 20 hours to make. That video right now is sitting at about 700 views. This video is probably going to be sitting around the same, and it might even be over that, right? If you're looking at this video and it's only a couple days old and it has 2,000 views, it's done miles better than the video that I spent 10 to 20 hours editing. The time you spend on a video does not necessarily mean it is going to be a better video, and a lot of people get confused about that. They think that because they put time in, they should be getting money out. I put time into videos because I actually enjoy the process of making the video. I really enjoyed those 10 to 20 hours. It was a lot of fun for me. In fact, that was probably more fun than it was more fun than most of the times that I play Rust. It wasn't more fun than recording that gameplay because that gameplay was a blast. But I think that's part of the fallacy. People think like, I put 3 weeks into this video, so I should get 3 weeks of pay out. That's how it works if you're salaried, but when you're a self-employed person, which is what YouTubers are, that's not how it works. Time in does not equal money out. Time in equals work in, which hopefully equals money out if you're optimizing where you put your work in. For instance, if you decide to cut your neighbor's grass and they haven't asked you to cut their grass, you can ask for whatever amount of money you want. You can spend however long you want doing it, but in the end of the day, you're just doing something for free and hoping that they're going to tip you. And if they don't tip you, that's on you, not on them. Get it? Sorry, I wanted to have some coffee. But anyways, what I'm getting is I think part of the issue is a fallacy, right? People think I need to do sponsorship deals. I need to make that dough. I need to make that money. So they take in these sponsors that are offering a lot more. For instance, for me, an average sponsorship offer, okay, is going to be probably about, when I was getting 10,000 to 20,000 views, I'd say about $150 to $300. It depends on what the sponsor wants, what they're asking for. And a lot of sponsors ask for things that are unethical and will pay more for it, but I don't take those sponsorship offers, right? And sometimes there's sponsorship offers that it just connects, right? Like everything just works out. It's a great sponsorship. Like everything works. And then sometimes I'll knock some money off of it. Or if it's like a really good product that I think I should push to people, maybe I won't do it for free because, I like money. But yeah, I'll knock some money off of that. In full disclosure, like I've only taken one sponsorship this year that was Raid Shadow Legends, and that money got donated. So it is what it is, right? Or no, sorry, I digress. Some of that money got donated. There is proof online of that. I'm not going to post it because that's none of anyone's business. And then I used some of the money to buy like a thumbnail for a video just to see how good it would do, and it didn't actually end up doing any better than the thumbnails I make. So go figure. Anyways, that's where that money went, like full disclosure. And that's what I'm basing it off of. I've also had sponsors in the past and things like that. So I know roughly where it'll come in. If you're going for a crypto sponsorship, things get a little trickier, right? So with crypto sponsorships, the way it works, because I've looked into this and I've gotten offers and everything like that, it turns out I'm actually a crypto influencer. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that until I got a bunch of emails telling me I was one. But yeah, I've got a few crypto videos that got like 100,000 views. Some of them have appeared in like Graham Stephan videos and gone on to get like those clips have gotten like millions of views. So like, I legitimately have a couple million views worth of crypto videos. And because of that, crypto companies want to offer me money. Like they even offered me consulting, like hourly pay. That I took because like, why not? I don't know what advice I offered. I don't know if it was helpful, but whatever. I mean, I told them everything was a little overhyped. Anyways, those are a little bit different, right? So crypto companies, you've got some like legit crypto companies that really do believe in their product and they're actually pushing stuff out. You talk to them, they know their shit. Like the programmers there, like they know what they're doing. Like they sort of say this, they point out the right things. They point out the things like the issues that they could have. And they know like, okay, this is a hump we've got to get over. This is a problem. We're going to do this. We're going to do an ICO. We're going to release this NFT. We're going to release this. We're going to do it in this order. And this is what we've got so far. They've got like the code written out. I think it's in like Solidarity or something like that. Like I'll take a brief look at some of that stuff and make sure it looks somewhat legit. It doesn't look like it's copy and pasted. There's not comments that say like a Bored Ape code in it, But basically, you can sort of tell. And the stuff that is somewhat legit usually doesn't offer that much, right? They're going to be in that upper like $300, like $250 to $300 range. The stuff that's not legit at all, right? Like the most illegitimate offer I've gotten for a crypto like sponsorship. How much do you think it was? $1,500 on a video that would probably get 500 views. How illegitimate do you have to be to offer that? Like it's not worth it whatsoever. I followed up because I was curious. And they were fully willing to go through with it. And I asked for some proof of like product and proof that this was going to launch and proof that the money like wasn't a complete scam. And I never heard back. It's ironic how that goes, right? They were really interested in me. They were really interested in giving me money. And then all of a sudden they weren't so interested. Maybe they looked at my channel and realized it wasn't going to be worth it. But most likely they just didn't like the questions I was asking. And the same goes for gambling sponsorships, right? So like a legitimate gambling sponsorship, like I think if you want to get like a legal gambling sponsorship or something and someone like Bellagio win, something that's like on the New York Stock Exchange, they've got physical casinos based in the US, based in like various countries that are fairly reputable, they're going to give you a good offer still because gambling does make them money, right? But it's not going to be as high as an offer from a skin gambling site because there's no real regulation on that, right? It's a bit like pachinko in Japan, right? You're gambling for these metal balls that you can trade in for money. Now it is somewhat regulated, I think, in Japan because that's just, I think it's just been like, it was originally like this get around the law type thing, and now it's like more legitimate. But skin gambling, on the other hand, is pretty illegitimate. They're not checking ages. All you got to do is give in some skins. A bunch of stuff goes off, and then all of a sudden you get your winnings or you lose your skins, and that's how it goes. It's very hard to like really tell what's going on. I know everybody says like fully trusted, fully transparent, blah blah blah. But how many people have actually done their due diligence on that? Personally, when I've used stuff like that, I never did my due diligence. Like way back in the day, I'd do stuff like that. Not on stream or anything like that, just because, I like gambling and I was underage. In a video game, just in case there's some sort of statute of limitations or something there. Anyways, I like doing it, right? So I did it, and I didn't see any harm in it. I didn't lose like my whole bank account. I didn't lose my bankroll. I didn't spend more than I planned to. Like that's how it goes with the casino too. Like I put the money I'm going to spend in my wallet. I go into the casino with that money, and when it's all out, I leave. That's how you should be doing it. That's unfortunately not how a lot of people do it, and that's why gambling makes so much money because people get addicted to that high of winning money. And the problem is the more money you make, the more you've got to spend to get that high, right? So like back in the day, $20 would give me a huge high. Nowadays, if I lose $20, it's like, what is that? That's whatever. It is what it is. It doesn't give me that high. Like it doesn't give me a high winning $20, I guess is what I mean to say. And it doesn't give me that sense of loss losing it. So you need more and more to do that. And that's how gambling works is you win bigger and bigger amounts. You need bigger and bigger amounts to get that high. And people go chasing that, and that's how you end up bankrupt. Anyways, this is STS, so I'm allowed to go off on tangents here. But what I'm getting at basically is legitimate sponsorships usually pay less than illegitimate sponsorships. And a lot of people confuse that by thinking that the illegitimate sponsorships are paying the real amount of what they should get paid, when in reality, not really, right? Like your weed dealer is going to make more than the dude who like Uber Eats you a beer. And there's a reason for that, because the weed dealer is doing something illegal and there's a little bit more sort of pressure on them. Now, I don't think it's actually illegal to take a gambling sponsorship, but on the other hand, I think that there are some questionable things going on there. And since most of these gambling or these skin gambling sites don't really check your age, and even if they do, it's sort of one of those things like, are you actually 21? Are you actually 18? Are you actually able to gamble? And you just sort of check yes and maybe submit some like birthday or something like that. And they're like, yeah, good enough. We're good to go. So yeah, I think what a lot of people are confusing is they're confusing the amount of money getting paid with the sponsor being more legitimate, when sometimes the more money you're paid, the more illegitimate the sponsor is. Anyways, I did say I'd get into how much I was paid, and you've made it this far, so let's talk about this. Or not how much I was paid, sorry, how much I was offered. So when I got a gambling sponsorship when I was offered a gambling sponsorship from a skin gambling website, there's been a couple. The two big ones that actually did give me numbers, okay? So the first one was a fairly well-known skin gambling site for Rust. A lot of people have probably heard of this. You probably used it. It's in a ton of other videos. Their offer was about $400, okay? So normal range, $150 to $300. They offered $400. Not crazy, okay? Like it's a good offer. It's well above what I'd normally get paid. But it's not a bad offer, right? Like overall pretty decent, okay? I still said no to it. Next offer I got was from a newer site, little more illegitimate-ish. They didn't want me to do anything illegitimate or anything like that, but it seemed a little bit more like iffy. Their offer was about $700, and when I said no, they went up to $800. So that's how much they were offering. That was way above what normal sponsorships pay. And that doesn't mean that their sponsorship, they're the only ones willing to pay fair market rate. What they're doing is they're paying way over fair market rate, in my opinion. And I don't know why. I can't tell you if they're legit. I can't tell you if it's like they just wanted to start off and they were willing to pay whatever they could get. At the time, again, 10 to 20,000 views a video. I'm guessing they would have wanted to be on one of those bigger view videos. There were videos I was putting out at the time that I could be fairly confident would get, 30, 40, or 50,000 views. And some of these deals, they'd have these things baked in where it's like, well, if it doesn't get, 25,000 views in the first month, you do another sponsorship video for free. Stuff like that, right? So that 800 number might actually be 400, if you will. So even then, though, that's double what I'd normally get for a sponsored video. So yeah, it's a pretty insane amount, if you will. And that's part of the thing. I think people are like thinking that they're getting a more legitimate offer because the money is there, when maybe not. Now, you're probably wondering why I didn't take the money. So first off, I'm in a very different position than a lot of other like Rust content creators. Okay, I'm older. I work in a really good profession. I'm a programmer. A lot of people know that already. I work actually in like one of the higher paying areas of programming too. So like I like money. I work to make money. It would be great if I could retire. It would be great if I could do this full time. But at the same time, I do realize that where I need to be to keep my lifestyle going would be a lot bigger than anything any of these sponsorships could offer me, I think. There are some Rust content creators who do make way more than I do make in real life, and who probably have a net worth that's a bit higher than mine. But at the same time, those are the top 1% of the 1% type thing, right? Like if you get where I'm going with this, like, I make decent enough money that I'm not going to like go do Rust full time if I can make $60,000 or $100,000 making Rust videos. There's a lot of people who jump at that opportunity, and I completely understand that I'm in a really good place as far as that goes. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this to sort of point out that I am coming from a place of luxury when I can say no to this, right? Like $800 not going into my bank account isn't something that is going to change my life. And $800 going into my bank account isn't something that's going to change my life. Like I routinely get that. Like that's it's a decent amount of money. It's something that maybe I would notice if I checked my bank account. I actually don't. I don't check my bank accounts. Does anyone else do that? Anyways, but like you get what I'm saying. So I'm coming at this from a place of privilege, a place of luxury, where I can say no and I don't have to worry about food on the table, keeping the lights on, keeping the heating bill going. I can keep my house subtropical in the middle of winter, and it's a ridiculous waste of money, but it's not going to make me go bankrupt, basically. So I'm coming at it from a place of luxury. But the other thing I was thinking about is it's not the type of content I want to push out to people, because one of the things that I don't like, I enjoy gambling, right? Like if I got a sponsorship offer from a place that I knew was 100% legitimate, based in the US, fully like regulated, fully looked after, everything like that, you know, Bellagio, Wynn, something like that, or some site that like was based in the US and was fully regulated, I could see doing it, honestly. Like I could see it being something that I'd be interested in. And assuming everything was legit, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. I don't have any problem with gambling. I don't have any problem with drinking or drugs or anything like that. If people want to do it, they should do it. You need to know the risks. That's for sure. But if you want to do it, you should be able to do it. One of the things I think a lot of people do is they talk about like, there's all these creators like XQC and Trainwrecks or whoever shouldn't be doing gambling sponsorships, right? But then at the same time, they'll be doing a boxing match. Which one gives you brain damage and could lead to death? Yeah, gambling can lead to suicide. I get that. But a lot of people who get into that boxing ring end up leaving with brain damage. And brain damage is something that you can't really recover from. If you go to a casino and you lose $1 million, you might go bankrupt. The next 5-10 years of your life might be pretty shit. But if you get brain damage, that's not something that you can walk off. That's not something that you can claim bankruptcy and recover from. And that's something like there's people that literally die in the boxing ring because they get hit in the head too hard. It's something that does cause legitimate physical harm to people. And it's something that a lot of people just shrug off because they're like, hey, it's entertainment. It's cool. It's a sport. You're getting healthier. Like your muscles might be getting healthier, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you as a whole person, mentally, physically, whatever, are getting healthier. So I think it's a double-edged sword there to say one thing's wrong and one thing's right. All these are vices. All these things can help and harm your body. You know, if you're boxing, it can get you into a much better shape. It can make you feel better. It can make you act better. It can make you sort of feel like a fuller person. But you've also got to manage your head damage, right? Because that's something that can completely devastate you. There's a lot of boxers, there's a lot of professionals in that industry who, if you listen to them talk when they're in their like golden years, those years aren't so golden, boys. And it's the same with gambling. There's a lot of people who, you know, they go to Vegas, have a good time, they go back home and they're happy. And then there's some people who are sitting there at the slot machine pulling the handle 8 hours a day, shit in their pants because they think they're going to get lucky. And that's legitimately a thing people do. They think they're going to get lucky. They don't want to leave their machine, so they'd rather shit their pants and stop pulling that lever. You know, there's extremes in both cases, and both these things can go extremely like wrong. They can ruin your lives. But I don't think that should stop us from doing anything like this, right? Like there's always this like balance, right? Like, should you promote electric cars or gasoline cars? Gasoline cars can cause issues, right? Like there's pollution that comes up in the street because of that. Electric cars don't push that pollution out. They push it over to the power plant. It's going to make it easier to go to renewable energy. That's all great. But then you look at it and it's like the rubber in tires is actually one of the big pollutants that comes into cities, and that's causing issues. So maybe we should look at tires instead of cars. And like, you can dive into all this stuff and it gets nuts. Okay. And it's the same with any of this, right? Like, gambling's not great, but if you promote drinking, that's even worse because drinking can do harm to your body. If you promote weed, that can do harm to your body. Like smoking, anytime smoke goes into your body, it's not good, boys. A lot of people are like, weed smoke isn't as bad as tobacco. It's still smoke. It's not great. Like, you know, like if you're huffing an exhaust, it doesn't matter if that exhaust is like super clean. It's still probably not great for you. But you get what I'm saying here. For me, I don't see anything wrong with gambling. I don't see anything wrong with the sponsors themselves or anything like that. My question is it something I want to do? Because my worry would be that the site is illegitimate and I don't have the resources. I don't have the time. I just don't have the technical skills, I believe, to actually verify that everything's legit with these sites. I don't want to spend, because for me, I'd have to spend money to make sure that what I'm getting back is right? Like if you're playing a game that has 50% chance of winning, I want to do 1,000 spins and see if I win 50% of the time or 49% of the time or 48% of the time. If it's close, hey, probably legit. If it's not close, something's up. You know, I want to be able to do those checks to see if they're like truly trusted, verify here methods actually do work and actually do prove what they're saying. Stuff like that. And yeah, I just haven't had the time to do that. If I could, that would be something that I'd definitely do. And the other thing that I find sort of questionable is the fact that they're not checking ages or anything like that. Most of my, like, full disclosure, I actually, look, YouTube doesn't let me share the numbers. So I won't share the numbers, but I'll give you a rough guesstimate of how what my audience age is. Hold on one second. I've got to check this out. Okay. So under 18, maybe 5% of my audience. That's 13 to 17 age range. Okay. I think that's a rough estimate. That's not the exact number. I'm trying to just keep everything sort of somewhat unlucid, whatever it is, because I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. We all saw what happened with a certain someone that starts with an A. YouTube can be very mean sometimes. And that's one thing I fear too with gambling sponsorships. I don't want to lose my channel. I don't want to get demonetized. I don't want to be in YouTube's bad graces because I decided to take some sort of like deal. So yeah, that's generally like what I'm doing. It's not because I want to be a great person or anything like that. It's because A, don't need the money. B, don't want to lose my YouTube account. My YouTube account's worth a lot to me personally because it's a record of 10 years of my life, right? Over 10 years of my life, just what I've been thinking, what I've been doing, what I'm thinking on this. You can literally see my perspective on certain issues change over the course of just being on YouTube. And for a lot of you, that might not be that interesting, but I think for me, that's very interesting. I think for like, if like kids and stuff like that, that's something they might be interested in, right? Like they're going to be able to see me grow, evolve, change. When they're 20, they'll be able to see what I was thinking when I was 20. When they're 30, they'd be able to see the same thing. And I find that sort of cool. Maybe no one's ever going to do that. Maybe it's just a pipe dream of mine, but I like that. I like having that ability there, having that option there. So I don't want to get in YouTube's bad graces. That's one reason I don't want to do the gambling stuff. And then the other reason is just because I want to be able to verify the site, make sure everything's legit, and that's not something I could do. If you guys have looked, like I've been sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. That's a pay-to-win game, but I don't see anything wrong with pay-to-win gaming so long as it's 100% legit, right? Like, they're pretty upfront with everything. They're not trying to trick you into buying it. Like, you know what it is when you get it. There's no secret there. People play it. People do love it. They spend a lot of money on it, but people spend a lot of money on soda. They spend a lot of money on all sorts of stupid stuff. It's not my job to police you and tell you where you can and can't spend your money. And the other thing, this is going to come up because people think, another game I play is Entropia Universe. There's some issue there with whether or not it's gambling. Some people say it is, some people say it isn't. I always think it's more like poker or something like that. It's one of these games that's 100% pay to win, okay? You can technically withdraw your money. It's extremely hard to withdraw your money. It takes a lot of time. It's not quite like a gambling site where it goes in and out, right? Like if you win $10 in Entropia Universe, you can't withdraw it. You've got to save it all up. Then when you go to withdraw it, it's going to take you 6 months to do. The other thing with the game is they don't actually push the winning so much as they push. A lot of players in game, myself included, we push the skill-based aspects of the game, like figuring out the game's like tricks, figuring out the algorithm, maxing out your efficiency, min-maxing, all that sort of thing, right? Which I find very interesting, but that's not one of those things that you're doing just to get these big jackpots or anything like that. And to me, it's one of those games that while the cost to play does go up as you get bigger, it's not like it doesn't have the same pull as gambling, in my opinion. Entropia Universe is, to me, when I get done playing it, it's something that it's like, oh yeah, that was a nice like $10 spent. It was very relaxing. We had a good time. Maybe we lost $2. Okay, great. Like, I walk away thinking I got some skills. That was good. It's like that typical MMORPG experience. When I go to Vegas, right? Like, and I play blackjack, there's that like adrenaline push of like, put $50 on the line. Come on now. You get 100 back and you're like, all right, let's go 200. Let's go 300. And as you get bigger and bigger, right? Like after you win that, like after you win $300, you can't go back to 50. You got to go to 500. And you just get bigger and bigger, right? And you feel that like adrenaline building every time. And then at some point you got to walk away and be like, we're leaving Vegas for a couple of years and then we'll come back and start getting 50. Because you just can't keep topping it. You got to just let everything reset and then go back and top that. But yeah, that's my take on it. I'm not some sort of authority here. I'm not 100% right on this. I'm probably wrong on this. There's something in here that's definitely immoral. There's some people that are probably going to call me out on it. I fully respect that. We've all got different morals. We've all got different beliefs, and you shouldn't agree with me. You should make your own opinions, but this is just me throwing it out there, throwing out some real numbers, because I've seen like some of these podcasts and some of these YouTube creators talk, and they won't give the real number. They'll just say like, ooh, it's 4 figures. It's 5 figures. And it's like 5 figures. $10,000 and $99,000. There's a huge difference between those two numbers. One of them is roughly what a lot of people make in a month, and one of them is what people hope to make in a year, right? Like one of them is what a lot of people hope to make in a year. Okay, like $10,000 you can make in a month if you have a really good month, right? Maybe you're getting paid overtime, maybe you get your Christmas bonus. Maybe like some stock goes up. Like maybe you get that $10,000. You get that hype with it, right? $99,000. So that is like, you get that in a month. I've never made that much in a month. That's like, that'd be insane. And I'd have a lot more respect for someone turning down $99,000 and $10,000. If you want to imply that's $99,000, come out and say, don't just say it's a number with like 5 digits in it. Because I don't know, there's a really big variation there. It's the same as if I say like, someone offered me 3 digits for this. It's like, Cyril, did you get $100 or $999? Because $100, you can't really like, that's a video game. It's not a video game. It's a video game with like an extra skin pack or something, right? $999, that's a video game with all the skins. Sort of sad when you say it that way. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, peace.